We have a question from Suzanne Zach. Suzanne asks, what advice do you have for students who want to enter the field? This is a great question for both of you.
Yeah. I can go first. Definitely. Really focus on what you are doing in school. It really makes a difference when you're out looking for jobs and you're looking for connections to refer you to those jobs. It makes a difference as to what you've been doing. Your grades are great. They matter. They're important. You should always make sure that you're doing your best in school, but really also pay attention to your extracurriculars, what you're doing outside of those classes, what you're learning from those classes that you can apply to early work. Definitely internships are super important. Even studying abroad, just getting a bigger perspective on the world so that you can apply it to your art is really important. Doing everything that you can related to your chosen field is really important before you go out into the world.
Yeah, and it sounds like you also had played a lot of games, as you were saying earlier. So just being in the medium that that
Yeah.
doing a lot in Sims. Karl, what do you tell your students and the people that you work with?
Oh, Kirie nailed it. I think being able to be aware of what you're doing is very important, but also having a breadth of skills. Taking that class and like right now I'm learning about Python, something I never would have thought I would be doing, but being able to automate those processes for game design has been really important. The things I tell my students right now is that my first job, my first demo reel that I created, included nothing from my actual schoolwork. It was all extracurricular things that I wanted to create, items that I wanted to show. But the things that I showed in my demo reel for animation specifically included things like I want to learn how to composite. And at the time, the Star Wars Episode 1 came out, so we were playing behind the Calder Residence Center with broomstick handles and learning how to composite lightsabers and things. Things like that showed that I think that I was a little bit more effort goes into my thought process and doing what I want to do as opposed to just the canned schoolwork.
Yeah, I've also learned. I don't make video games myself. I'm a documentary filmmaker, but I've learned that those skills of curiosity and learning how to learn, I think, is something that we all found very valuable across these different parts of the industry and in different entertainments. Oh, another question from Suzanne Zach. If someone graduates and wants to work in the industry, what are some of the first steps they could take?
Sell your soul. I'm just kidding.
Sell your soul.
Definitely, at least from recent approach from my end, reach out to your connections. You better have been making connections in college because that's your first step. Most of the time, it's really about who you know, in addition to your work ethic and what you're applying for. But having like idols and people to look up to, even just for advice, is so helpful. Those informational interviews that Suzanne's always telling you to do, they're important. Really reach out to people, ask them what it's like to work in their career. Really figure out what you're doing in that moment. Don't think too much about like where you want to end up. Like maybe in school you were super focused on being a cinematographer for Pixar or a director for Lucasfilm, but don't focus so much on the end goal. Focus on what you're going to do to take care of yourself now that you will enjoy, that can eventually bring you up to that level. And I think that if you start there and you leverage your connections and just keep living and making more connections wisely, you will get to where you want to be.
Yeah, exactly. Being able to leverage your connections and meet people to know what they're doing, and that's going to broaden your horizons as well. I never knew that legal animation was a thing until I applied for the job. My senior year of school at Grand Valley, I think my friend Angie and I went out to the Ottawa Film Festival. We drove all the way out to Ottawa, Canada to see independent short films there. I went to SIGGRAPH and volunteered to learn more about computer graphics in the industry out there. First, I went to New Orleans and then LA. It was just getting your name out there and learning about what's possible. Because as a student, I mean, just it's challenging. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's a very popular field. It's very challenging. to get in and to maintain it. So, being realistic that you have to have the skills to continue in this field.